Hello there. So today I want to talk about the arts, the movies, the TV shows, and all that stuff. This is pure speculation, but I have come to this idea, this theory, that the arts have caused our society to become more secularized. The movies, the TV shows, and all that stuff, they have actually caused our society to become more secular. If you walk around the streets today, it is normal. It's not even questioned. It's not anything that you'll see women dyeing their hair, piercings on wherever, however, it doesn't matter. Um, Women dress basically like men. You were if you were to look at how a woman dresses and you were to look at how a man dresses, the only difference is the cut is a woman's cut over a man's cut. That's basically the difference. And even that, I don't even know. It used to be like women wore tight pants. Now I'm seeing that guys are wearing tight pants, and guys are now doing hairstyles that guys didn't normally do. They're actually like longer hairstyles that women would do and all that stuff. Guys seem to be caring more, like just in my lifetime when I was younger, like guys cared about having like cool sneakers and all. That was like the extent of it, and even like dress shoes they liked. But now it seems like they care about their shoes to the extent like girls cared about their shoes when I was younger. And it seems like they're getting it's just part of their normal society, what they think is the normal. And how is this happening? What is going on here? I think a lot of it has to do with the arts, has to do with the movies, the TV shows, what they're seeing there, what's going on there, what they're normalizing for society. That's what I think happened. So if you go back in time, back years ago, you will find that normal in society back then, people went to church and they prayed, people would hold hands and they would say their blessings, and there was actual care for God and religion and spirituality and belief in heaven and Lord have mercy and all that stuff. And there was an actual love for religion and care for religion over the years. And there was actually also a care for women dressing modest and guys being chivalrous. And there was all the stuff that was actually there. You saw it in the arts. You can go back to like movies or shows from the 50s or whatever it is. You will find the stuff there. And then over the years, going further away from there, they started maybe dressing more immodest a little bit. They started getting more loose with their language. They started introducing secular values, secular ideals, things that religious ideals are against, as normalization, normalizing these things. Women just and men just naturally, casually, just automatically just getting together and hooking up as a thing. I don't think there was an intention here from the arts to control the society to be secular. I'm not saying there's something like that going on. I think what happened was when you're making these things, you're looking to do something daring. You're looking to make something that's just like, wow, this is a shocking thing. Look at the guy and girl. They met up and they went through all that, and you don't know what's gonna happen next, and then all of a sudden they're kissing, and it's like, whoa, and then they have to keep pushing it. They have to keep getting more and more into your face and out there. That's just like things that aren't normal. Now, how many times are you gonna see a guy and a girl actually getting to that scene where they kiss, and it's gonna actually matter to you? How many times can you see that before it becomes old? So they got to keep it new. They got to keep it fresh. So what do they do to keep it fresh? They keep pushing it more and more and more. Eventually, girls end up being nude normally on the screen. Eventually, the idea of a girl being nude back then is absurd. They would never do that. They wouldn't consider that. They cared about women actually being dressed more modest. And but even then, it was still this is Hollywood and the entertainment industry is not a religious industry. They were just trying to feed their audience. I think they're actually been secular at their core. I'm not saying they should be religious. I'm just saying what's been happening. As I said, I'm not saying that the entertainment industry is like trying to do anything or trying to cause anything here. I just think they did. I think by default, what they were doing, pushing the needle and trying to get people to actually react to their and wanting to actually buy their product and actually get a wow factor out of it and all that, they caused people to actually admire these actors and admire what they were doing, admire these characters and all that stuff, and think like I'm gonna dress like that guy. I'm gonna do what that guy's going. I'm gonna live my life trying to be like that guy. I'm gonna be that guy trying to get all the girls. And then you see in the movies they're like, yeah, I don't want to be tied down. I don't care about marriage. I don't want to be married. I want to go. I want to have fun. And you see that in the movies, and then you got boys growing up, teenagers growing up, thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna be that guy. I'm gonna be a player. And these guys end up growing up and it's like we're gonna get everything, and they're trying to like emulate what they see on the TV, in the movies and all that stuff, how they dress, how they act, how they think, all that stuff. And these things are generally secular things, or generally ideals that are very anti-religious. So eventually that bred a society of the secular society that became the Democratic Party, that has now embraced these ideals and these values, and it led them to actually being a secular ideal system, which is basically the same as communism or socialism and all that stuff, which is evil and immoral and away, as the arts was doing, as the movies and TV shows were doing, going away from religion, as simultaneously they have been, which led to them being that the logical conclusion, because everything has a logical conclusion. If you're going away from the religious values of owning property, which is a religious ideal, not to steal and all that stuff, so you own stuff, and the government doesn't get to own things like that because that's not a religious thing and all that stuff. When they're getting America, a lot of the American ideals, a lot of seculars would argue, oh well, the American thing is all really secular. But if you look in it in the values and the ideals and the whole setup of the government, it is based out of religious ideals and religious values. That it's straight up based out of it. There's nothing about the American system that's based out of any secular ideals. It's just not. The secular ideals are socialism and communism, and that we're just gonna make the perfect utopia and all that stuff. That doesn't work in reality. And the only reason they're trying to make it work is because they left religion. So in the religious utopia, you live your life abiding by the religious values of God and all that stuff that's actually good for society, and then you go to heaven, and there's your utopia. But if you're a secular or you're leading a life with secular ideals, your utopia is going to have to be made with yourself, amongst yourself in the world, and you're basically going to lead towards socialism and communism and all that stuff. And I just think that the arts played a major role that people may not be realizing, the entertainment factor of these things. And I think moving forward, anybody watching this stuff, be wary of these things. Let's say like the Daily Wire. I know they said they're making a whole entertainment thing. So whatever the Daily Wire is going to be doing, perhaps they if they were to understand the influence this has had on people, they can actually make a difference on understanding the influence of whatever they're going to be producing for people to be watching and all that stuff for the kids and whatever it is. But I'm not trying to say who should do what. I'm just saying my point here is to understand that all the stuff is from, I believe, is connected straight from the arts, going back to, you can say that when people in society were like that back then, and then they were leading the way to how society should be, to now what's considered normal for young kids now hooking up at crazy ages, where marriage is something that people they shun. People actually shun marriage these days. It's crazy. People are pro-choice, they're pro-abortion, they're pro-socialism, they're pro things that are anti-religious values. They're for men and women dressing however they want, and society just being how you want and living how you want, and there's no moral center there. There's nothing, no such thing as a moral life that you just get to be how you want to be. If you're going to be how you want to be, you're going to live an immoral life, because people by nature are by default are immoral beings. So you got to actually find a creed, a religion, all that stuff, a value system that is actually moral and works, and to live under. If you're not going to do that, whatever you find could also be an immoral system. So if you're going to find socialism and communism, well, that's actually an immoral system. And we got to fix that. We got to work on getting back to being more how we were back then. We were closer to God and cared about all that stuff, and go back to the movies and backtrack to the time where you can see it, where you can see a society in America where people actually cared about actually praying to God, saying their blessings, families holding hands together, and all that stuff. And yeah, like, subscribe, share. Join me on America and Values on my Facebook group, on Instagram, and The American Dream. Thank you. All the best.